I'll tell you a very quick, funny story from a couple of weeks ago.
Fire away,
Before I leave, I don't in the morning when I'm leaving at the time I do, but on a weekend, I get a couple of nuts out of the fridge. Fridge, pardon me. And I eat them before I make any breakfast, have a coffee, and I'm talking a handful of just not
Just mixed.
mixed nuts, yeah.
Cashews, peanuts, that kind of thing.
Nothing, no salt on them, not dry roasted, just plain nuts.
Just nuts.
But I took out my cod liver oil tablet, which is probably the size of my little finger, and I had it in my hand, and threw the nuts in my hand, and just boom, straight in.
Bit into it.
I bit into my cod liver oil tablet. Oh, I just swallowed it and grabbed hold of a flipping glass of water and just knocked through it. I was nearly sick. And I take a cod liver oil tablet with vitamin A and D in it every morning.
But you don't bite it.
But you'd know, but that one morning, I bit it with my nuts and it absolutely, wow. Lesson learned. Still at 42, learning life lessons.
Nice. Alright guys, welcome back to the podcast. It's episode number 19 of Adept Interchange. I'm your host Alex McMahon and I have a guest co-host today. Welcoming back for your hat-trick appearance now, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Paul
Thanks for having
Howard,
me.
all the way from number one Spinning Fields. Welcome back to Paul Howard. How are you, mate?
Good, Alex, yeah. Yourself?
I'm a little bit queasy after your cod liver oil story, but aside from that, I'm all good.
Don't chew nuts on a cod liver oil at the same time.
So a bit of a recap episode for us today. So we've got a jam-packed agenda to run through, so we'll dive straight in. First point of business is obviously now in 2025, which means Q4 of our awards is now done. So we can reveal the quarter four winners, mate. So if you want to reel off the list, we've got them just there, mate.
Yeah, so delivering a grade aid service is Stephen Anderson.
Yeah, so Steve, he works for us at Bridgewater House in Manchester with APAM. He's worked there for years, and our client sent us a lovely email about Steve. The standards he sets are really, really high, and he's just so consistent. And she sent us a really nice email, and the culture committee voted for Steve.
I did.
Did you?
Yes.
So yeah, just side note, how we decide the winners is we obviously get them all in. We then take all the names and the site information off so they're anonymous, and then we send it to Paul and the culture committee, and they vote for it. So it's all kind of done impartially. And yeah, Steve was the winner.
I only know it's Steve because obviously I'm sat here today, but yeah. I did vote for that. Yeah.
So well done, Steve. People first.
Yeah, so that's Felix.
Felix, yeah. So Felix, really interesting story actually. So Felix works at Anchor Retail Park for us in Hartlepool, and he was doing a patrol and he saw a bit of commotion outside. I think it was TK Maxx. It was Chris Holt that put this nomination through. Saw a bit of a commotion outside TK Maxx. It was a shoplifter, and obviously wasn't within the line of duty, but Felix then went after to apprehend the shoplifter who was kind of making the way through the car park. Ended up slipping, breaking his leg in the process. But again, just going kind of above the call of duty, putting his client first, and ended up banged up with a broken leg and ankle, I think it was. So,
Yeah.
fair play to Felix.
Absolutely.
Not that we'd encourage people to go
No.
after people and breaking a leg, but it was a good effort. He's a really nice guy, Felix. So he'll be made up with that, I'm sure. Helping communities thrive was your friend and mine, podcast royalty.
Oh, absolutely. Our very own Luke. I'm proud beyond belief, but yeah, I'll let you.
Yeah, so it was. I read the nomination that was put through for Luke, and so obviously he's for helping communities thrive. So it's kind of around how he champions inclusivity. He's a great spokesperson for Adept and for the Down Syndrome Association WorkFit program. He spoke at the Living Wage. He spoke at Greater Manchester Good Employment Charter. He's got another event tonight, which we'll come on to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he's just an absolute diamond.
Oh, he is, and just about how he goes about his duties at number one every week. It's the same Luke. Just brings a smile to everyone's face in work, and he's an absolute character. And what's funny is his dad thinks he listens to me more than him.
So I mean, we're recording this back end of January. the awards haven't been presented yet, but we'll overlay the photos on the video podcast. But we're doing that in a couple of days' time, so he's no idea at this point.
No,
recording.
no.
So that'll be
I can't wait for that. That's Monday next week.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, I'm sure it'll be the award presentation heard around the estate.
Oh, absolutely. No doubt he'll have an audience.
So we had acting with uncompromising integrity and honesty next.
So that's Fitzroy Thomas.
Yeah, from Spin. So Nick was telling me about this morning. So Fitzroy worked on the Spinning Fields estate, and he identified that the cleaning team was struggling with some flooding the other week. His shift had finished, but he stayed on for a good few hours after and kind of went beyond the call of duty again and just made sure that...
That's the flooding outside number one.
Yeah,
It's been an issue for a long time, yeah.
And yeah, he stayed well after hours just to make sure that the team were doing all right and that everything was how it needed to be. So again, just really
Great attitude.
Yeah. And then lastly, the team award.
Brunel.
So I think it was Andy Troughton who put this one through. There was a first aid incident, and a number of the team down there just kind of responded how, I always say this, but how you'd want someone to respond to a first aid incident, kind of like calmly and professionally, and just kind of ticked all the boxes that you want them to.
Yeah, and attending to a first aid incident, that is the first rule your first aid teacher will tell you. Is the calmer you are, the calmer the situation is.
100%, mate.
If you're running around at 100 miles an hour, that doesn't calm down. So yeah, to have that calmness at that incident is what has led to that award, yeah.
So that's Q4 done and dusted. So we're now on the countdown actually to the annual awards, which is in 6 weeks' time, 14th of March. So just as a bit of a brief recap, I'll tell the audience all the nominees. So every winner from Q4 goes into the pot to be a nominee for the annual awards. We were just on a call yesterday actually trying to piece everything together and how we go about deciding for who's going to choose each category. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to send each category to whoever's sponsoring that award and they'll choose.
Brilliant.
But the A grade service, so the winners throughout the, and it'll be Q1, 2, 3, 4, was Barhan Easton from Leeds Dock, Dana Plowright and Heather Dawson from FI HQ in Chesterfield. Easton again picks up Q3, and then obviously Steve Anderson in Q4. People first was Thomas Samuel, and then Said Sharma in Q2, Baha from Leeds Dock in Q3, and then Felix Q4. Helping Communities Thrive was our very own Paul Howard in Q1. That seems like a long time ago, doesn't it?
A long time ago.
Anand Vasani from the control room in Q2. Easton again in Q3. He's up for 3 awards.
Yeah.
And then obviously Luke Q4, acting with uncompromising integrity and honesty. Paul Burrows and Faisal Iqbal in Q1. I think they're from Deansgate Square.
Where? That's right, yeah.
Chris Matthews from the Granary in Leeds, Q2. Andy Troughton, Q3. And Fitzroy in Q4. The team award was number 1 cleaning team,
yeah.
Q1. Spinning Fields Estate Cleaning Q2. Number 1 cleaning again in Q3.
Yeah.
And then Brunel in Q4. So they are your nominees for the annual awards. And we'll do a bigger piece around that before and after the event. So stay tuned for that. The awards are taking shape actually now. So we've got like I said, we'll overlay clips of it in future podcasts. We've got venue sorted. We've got a host.
The venue's good, yeah. The venue's good. Been and seen that.
Yeah. That's the old doctor's surgery.
That's correct.
Corrie.
Coronation Street, yeah.
So I'm gonna,
Stables.
Yeah. So I've been again roped into presenting it. So I'm going to kind of set that as a little teaser for everyone to try and guess where and what it was. I mean, people from Allied will know obviously, but people who were there who don't work in Manchester might not know.
I was there as it was getting knocked down.
Nice.
The old street, yeah.
Very good. When was that? It's a few years ago, wasn't it? 'Cause they moved.
2017, it started getting demolished. The end of 17, yeah.
Very good. So we've got those coming up. So that'll be good. So again, stay tuned for that. As we were talking about Luke, he's again advocating for us again tonight. I'll just bring that up, mate. So you've got that. But he's speaking tonight Greater Manchester again.
Yeah.
With the Citizens Delegates Assembly. So again, just being...
And that was, they asked if Luke would come back.
Oh, did they?
That was nothing to do with Adept. They'd approached us
really?
and asked would Luke come and do another talk. So yeah, we got in touch with John, Luke's dad, and he said, "Oh, I'll see if Luke's available." And Luke, yeah, it was get me to the phone. I'll speak to Paul.
Yeah. So again, he's just going to be talking about like inclusivity in the workplace and supportive workplaces.
Because Adept pays a living wage, I know they care about me. And this makes me want to work harder and stay with the company for longer. One day, I hope I'll be working full-time for this company. Thank you for asking me to speak at this event. I think it is very important that Greater Manchester continues to work with local businesses to encourage them to offer a living wage. To all the employees, we urge each other the opportunity to have a good job and to be paid fairly for the work we do. Thank you.
And we were just going to touch on some of the highlights as well from our recent employee survey. So I've got those here, mate, and feel free to jump in. We do this every year. We send it out to every employee. Daniel, did you do it this year? Did you do the employee survey?
The centre, but I didn't.
You didn't do it?
No, I didn't do it.
Oh, let down. See, that's a problem. But no, we had a decent turnout, higher than industry average for returns, which is always good. And the feedback was pretty much really good. We'll touch on it in a minute. But I mean, what I've seen, obviously I've been in managerial positions for a long time now. I've seen good surveys, I've seen really bad surveys as well. And what stood out for me in this was what you could class as negative feedback was all constructive.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like people who were really upset. It was like constructive feedback. So from the people who took part, we had like a good split as well. So it was 50% security, 40% cleaning, and then head office support as well. 93% people were aware of Adept's values. 36% of people said they rarely experience workplace stress.
Apart from when I'm working with you.
36% said sometimes, 16% said never. So nearly 90% of people were on the lower end of workplace stress, which is such a big part of...
Well, stress, you shouldn't be in the workplace.
Yeah. 5% said often, 5% said always. So again, whilst that's not great, it's good that that's not a high number. 76% of people were aware that Adept can help with work-related stress, and 97% thought that was relevant and adequate, which is good again, because that kind of tells me that we're doing the right things and we're getting messages out to people. We could do that better, by all means.
But life, that's something.
Yeah. I think my watch isn't syncing up because I'm tumbling down the steps table on there. But
I'm looking at catching there.
You've gone past about 100,000 in front of me now. A follow-up question on like work-related stress and stuff was so we asked that question, and then the next question is, what more can we do? There were a couple of suggestions, but the main common answer was, I don't know what more you can do. Which again is kind of, it's good and it's bad, because we can always do more. But I mean, that's something that we'll probably introduce into the next culture committee meeting. But it's good that there's not something glaringly obvious.
No, absolutely, yeah.
71% were happy with the uniform. 13% were not happy. I think there's some contentious jacket colourings in Manchester. I think they were the ones who answered that. And
the uniform is, most of the builders are bespoke, aren't they? They choose their own.
Yeah.
I'm not happy with number one's jacket at the moment.
You're not?
Nope.
You have to get on to Amy then and let her know.
I've spoke to Aoife. So yeah, but yeah.
The uniform's good though. I've seen some awful uniforms in my time, but Nick's touched on it before in previous episodes. We'll kind of make a run for our own back by letting clients give it bespoke, but it's decent. it is decent. 31%, or a third of people who took part, would like further training. The suggestions with that were health and safety training, CCTV training, fire marshal, customer service, BICS cleaning certification, IOSH, mental health, first aid, and a couple of answers were anything that betters my career path, which was good because the fact that people
Are wanting to progress.
exactly, yeah, and they're wanting to develop
Yeah.
with us, which was good.
And it's not that Adept don't provide that, because
Yeah,
myself, Mark, Sam, last year, all
Yeah.
got our CCTV licenses.
yeah,
Myself and Mark with our IOSH. I've had that a few years, but Mark, in the last couple of years, had his. Sam's asked for that as well.
yeah, and we've put people into the Security Institute, and we've got people on training through that program as well. So if any frontline colleagues are watching this who would like some more training or would like to talk about career
Upskill.
development,
Yeah.
yep, speak to me, speak to Alan, speak to Nick, or your respective line manager, whether that's Kev and Geordie in cleaning or Mike and Chris in security. 76% of people feel valued at Adept, and only 5% disagreed, and just short of 20% neither agreed nor disagree. So that bracket, they're kind of just like, they don't feel disgruntled, they don't feel either way, which we need to get that bracket up. But it's good to see that a lot of people feel valued, and we need to focus on that like 23-24% of who don't, or who don't feel either way,
Yeah.
fair to say.
Yeah.
How often do you see your manager, which is always a bone of contention. You go to any site and people will say, I never see anyone. So the stats from this were 20% say they see their line manager daily, 43 said weekly, 28% said monthly, which is good. We were just saying off camera, you've seen Kev, our cleaning manager, every day this week.
Yeah. Kev's a good guy, good bloke. Mike, a couple of times this week. Yourself, ghosted me once this week. Nick, Alan. There's a comment down the line there about people seeing the directors most weeks.
Yeah, which is good, because it's important for staff to feel engaged with, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
85% said they feel like they receive a fair day's pay, which is good, I know you've got some feedback for me about pay. What would make Adept a better place to work, which I think is a really good question to ask in the survey. So the feedback that we got on this was living pension, which if you want to go back and check out our last episode, we talk about that.
That's something I've
Yeah.
gone to yourself, Alan and Nick about before.
Yeah, so it's something that we haven't given up on. We've maybe put the handbrake on it for now, but it is something that is absolutely on the agenda.
I know it is. I know.
It's just around,
Yeah.
like we talked about in the last episode, it's around the cost, basically. So we're just trying to piece together. But one of the good things that came out of that episode was the living wage told us that we can stagger it. We don't have to do it in one hit. So we can put a phased plan together to get through it. So that's something that we are still looking at. Staff engagement days was something that was mentioned. More performance reviews, and engagement, employee engagement, focus on professional growth, communication gap to be bridged, and team bonding was another one that was mentioned.
The team bonding, it kind of does happen, but I think that coincides with the communication we touched on off camera.
Yes.
That a couple of the guys at number one were saying about,
Yeah. So, I mean, I know you've got a few questions for me, and we can kind of cross-reference those, but we're going to start utilising... I mean, obviously, we use this podcast as a mouthpiece for staff engagement. So I always, whenever someone says that we don't hear anything from Adept, I always push back and go, watch the podcast. You'll get all the information you need there. But you've got some questions on that, mate, so we'll run through that. Just some final bits. 8.82 out of 10 would recommend Adept to a friend. 8.92 out of 10 said that we are good employers, which is always nice feedback to see. I think, again, we just need to just get that bit of polish on to focus on those small percentiles of people that don't think we are. And the general comments that were coming out, so I'll read these verbatim. So these are what our staff have said. Nowhere I've worked before, the big directors even look at me, but Nick addresses and embraces me when he sees me. Was that you, Daniel? Was that you that said that?
Nick embraces. I don't think he's ever shook my hand.
Oh, that's harsh. I've seen him shake your hand.
Oh, I don't know. He doesn't like contact.
So another comment was we were tupied into Adept and we didn't really get any information, which is good feedback. That's something we have been talking about. I've been discussing offline with HR, and we're just trying to kind of rework how we onboard people in TUPE processes and what information we're giving and how we do that. So that's something that we absolutely have taken on board. Another comment was, it's nice how my managing director knows my name. A lot of love for Nick in the survey. Bad judges of character, whoever filled these in. Adept's a good company to work for. It's the first company I know which care about their employees. And again, that's nice feedback. I've cherry picked a couple of good, a couple of bad. The last one that I picked out was could do with pay subs being available earlier, which I know has been discussed.
It's been discussed quite a lot.
Yeah. So
quite a lot, hasn't it?
Again, there is stuff going on behind the scenes where we're trying to make better efficiencies and just make things a little bit slicker. So again, to everyone who took part in the survey, thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
And just keep doing them. I know they're a bit of a ball ache when they come out and they take maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes, but without feedback like that, we can't make positive change.
Absolutely.
So you've got some feedback from your guys.
I've got a little bit.
Yeah. So give it to me, mate. Good and bad, and Dave,
yeah.
you can crop out the bad ones.
So some of the teams. So some of the points from last year. So I will name. Mark did mention the outside of work activities that we do, because we did do quite a bit last year.
We did.
I know Tough Mudder didn't happen last year.
No,
but we did the Dragon Boat racing, which was a great day out.
Yeah.
Jake came along to that. Phil from Number One came along to that.
Yeah.
Louise from Form. It's quite, I could keep naming names.
It was a good event.
It was great. It was great.
So just on that, in fact, you keep going.
Yeah. So Mark was basically saying, send it out on time, on time gate, so people get a notification. It's great that most people do know about it, but it's just
not everyone knows about it.
Not everyone knows.
Yeah.
Not everybody. It doesn't touch everybody.
Okay.
So yeah, and obviously I know Tough Mudder is happening this year,
It is.
and there's a lot of us sort of bit Nick's hand right off and said, yeah, we'll do it. It's going to be a bit of a struggle covering everyone, but people
It's on Saturday, so it makes it a little bit easier.
Mark then went on just to say what was great last year was the charity work, the 12 days of giving. I think quite a lot of people at Number One really were impressed with what happened last year. Scouts, a lot of my team are chuffed that Adept again this year have done our summer camp, which is continued great support.
When is that?
June, Father's Day weekend. You're involved, Alex. You there?
I am. Me and Barney are coming, mate. It's on the calendar at home.
The plan, you're going to have a great afternoon. The partnership that we got with Pure Gym on the back of the cycling to Christmas, we sort of, Number One have dug out a partnership with Pure Gym, which is on the back of that last year, which was great.
What's that? What's involved?
So just discounts and offers to classes, and just easier to sign up for people within the building as well.
That's really good.
And then on the back of that, we got the bikes for. So yeah, big shout out to Pure Gym for that. And then last thing from last year from Mark was the Down syndrome, bringing Luke and Matthew on board, giving them equal opportunities in work, which obviously we've got Luke and we love him. Matthew over at MGY's doing great things there as well.
Yeah, and I've got a call this week actually with Becky from the WorkFit programme. So we've got Josh, who hopefully by the time this comes out will be near enough getting ready to start over in Leeds. So he's going to be joining the form team in Ferns in department.
Brilliant.
So he's a lovely lad. So we'll get some more comms out on that as and when Josh starts. Yeah, looking forward to that. Good.
Yeah. That's good. And then things we can do this year. So maintaining a level of clarity for work and outside of work activities, which we just touched on.
Yeah. So on that, so Mark, I know you're listening. What we've got this year is we've got Tough Mudder. That's July.
Yeah.
I'm ducking it.
No way.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
It's my other half's birthday. So I'm not having that argument. We're going to be having We are going to be having a charity football game, an 11-a-side game, probably in the summer. So we're just trying to piece the logistics together of that, of, you know, getting a venue, who we're playing. We've got a couple of ideas. I mean, if there's anyone out there who wants to challenge us, let's have you.
Bring it on.
But yeah, so we're going to be doing that as well. So again, we'll send proper comms out when we start to piece that together. That's probably going to be May, June, July time, we think.
And you're going to be goalkeeper.
I used to be a goalkeeper when I was a junior.
The cat.
But I play centre mid now. Well, I haven't played football for years, but that's where I finished playing. We're going to be doing the dragon boat racing, so that's going to be in July. Lots of uptake already for that.
Oh, yeah.
I know you're coming, and Anna's coming as well, and you're bringing the full squadron over.
The clan will try and... Yeah. You won't be able to keep Jake away this year.
Well, we'll try and sneak him in.
Yeah.
Try and sneak him in this year. So we've got that. We're going to be doing the 12 days of giving again this year. And if anyone's listening, if anyone wants to bring any ideas to us about any organisations or any fundraising or any charities that we can support, we absolutely will sit down and have a conversation and see if there is a way that we can do that.
Just while you've mentioned that, Phil did mention to me about his brother,
Okay.
who suffers from MS,
Okay.
and would like to do something, whether it's a charity day or he's a bit of a mean fudge making.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. And
Fantastic.
he does a killer sauce as well, like a chili barbecue sauce, number of different sauces, but the one I've had is absolutely amazing. So
Cool. So yeah, Phil, we'll get in touch, mate, and we'll see what we can do with that. But yeah, if we can support in any way, we absolutely will. Anything else, bud?
there was so just last couple of things from number one was bringing in more staff to help cover holidays and support not just number one's team, but across the board.
Okay, cool. Yep, we're always on the lookout for new people, and if anyone's watching who wants to refer someone, let us know. Again, reach out to me, Alan, Nick, Chris, Mike, whoever.
You're referring a friend.
It's lucrative.
It is. Is it 200?
I think so. Yeah,
They passed the probation.
I think so.
Yeah.
I'll need to double check that. I'm not 100% sure, but
Yeah.
you should know. You put enough people through last year.
Yeah, I got my share.
So you got nice new trainers on.
Yeah, absolutely. Pay rises all around.
Yeah. So
which
on that, obviously, that'll be coming. Nick, Alan, and I were working through some spreadsheets the other week, actually. So we are putting together all of our price reviews, so that will come. Obviously, we are a real living wage employer. Our wages have to go up anywhere.
Yeah.
And we always aspire to try and get what we can. If we can get more, we will get more. But they will come. Your managers will tell you what you get in due course.
I did ask Mark. I told you I would. And then Breakfast Club, and you've let yourself in for this one, but your annual Starbucks run, Mark would like that to continue as well.
Right. Okay. So once Mark stops drinking iced Americanos, we'll maybe consider it. It's a weird drink.
Even in the winter, he's not stopped. He's still drinking them now.
I've never. When you first said that, I was like, "What? An iced Americano? Who drinks that?" Let us know in the comments. Any iced Americano fans out there? Wild. What was the one before? Sorry.
Breakfast Club.
Breakfast Club. How would that work?
Don't know.
Because from an Adept point of view, I know lots of companies do this. Obviously, if we were to do something at our office, that logistically wouldn't work, because we have to factor in the cover element for people. So, like, for example, you couldn't just step out of number one to come over for half an hour and have a pastry and a coffee with us, because we'd have to cover you.
Yes.
Is there a different way around we could do it?
Visiting each site once a quarter or something with pastries, sausage roll, whatever.
Okay.
Form do it for number one every now and again. We have the Greg's run. Nick won't like me saying this, but I just get an orange juice and an apple.
From Greg's?
Yeah, they do a fruit pot. And it's just apple and strawberries in the fruit pot.
Fair. Boring.
Yeah, he'd say that as well. Yeah, thanks. But it's working. It's paying off. But yeah, no. So something like that, and not just for number one, for MGY, for the Adept sites around Manchester, Leeds. How it will work is maybe, I don't know, pastries being delivered to site. If obviously, like places like Brunel,
Okay.
that people can't just get to,
Yeah.
tapping up a Phil Potts and running in with a breakfast.
Okay, something we can look at. We're not against it. We're not against, doing stuff like that, just figuring out the logistics. So
again, it's just that
Yeah.
that engagement for next year. Having breakfast once or twice a year, it just gives people that pickup, and it's not a massive cost.
Cool. Okay. Any other feedback, criticism, anything?
No criticism. Positive, structural improvements.
Cool. And I suppose the final piece today, we've kind of been not wrangling, but wondering how we go about covering this. Sadly, in early January, Carl Shah, one of our mobile drivers, after a short illness, sadly passed away. We've not really put much out there at all about it. We've kind of let staff, his colleagues, his friends kind of do that.
Andy put a couple of nice bits on social media. He's kept in touch with.
Yeah, with Cal's family. I mean, I've got something from Andy. I spoke to him yesterday and asked if he wouldn't mind just sending a few words through on Cal, who's very close with him. And I thought it'd be better for us to pay tribute to Cal on here, because I met Cal a handful of times. It'd be a bit soulless if it was to come from me. So
He was a great guy, mate.
I mean, you worked with him, didn't you?
Yeah. Some of the interactions with Cal, it was just he just liked to make people laugh, and unfortunately, if that was taking the mick out of you, then so be it. But it was never done in a callous way, you know. But I knew Cal before working for Adept. When I worked for Armani back in the day, and we moved on to spinning fields, Cal was one of the original guards around spinning fields at the time, and again, always approachable, lovely bloke, family man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a great guy. One of the family member, Raza Shah, who used to work for us, came and saw me last week with Andy. I had a catch up with Raza. The whole family just devastated. I spoke to another ex-colleague of mine, Ali, who used to work with a number of years ago at Number One. Was Q's cousin, just to pass on my sympathies with the family. But yeah, what a great guy. And Andy spent so many nights with him driving around mobile response. Yeah, I think he's got a few good words you're going to read out there.
Yeah. So like I said, I wanted to get something more personable for us to pay tribute to him. Like I said, I met Cal a couple of times, and he always left a lasting impression. Really nice guy. Sadly missed. And obviously, our hearts, our thoughts go out to Cal's wife, his children, his extended family and friends. But what Andy had to say was, I'll read this verbatim, so apologies if I trip over my words at any point, but it's a lovely piece that Andy sent through. So he said, when I first met Cal, Mr. Spinning Fields, it was when I first started at Adept. I was on a night shift on MGY, and my first thought was, he seems okay. A couple of months down the line, I asked if I wanted to do mobile response LTE and work aside Cal, and I said yes, due to mobile response being my background. My first night on response arrived, and to be honest, I was a bit nervous, and through I was quite nervous what I'm walking into. Cal soon made me feel like part of the team and made me feel relaxed within the first 10 minutes. Cal was such a character and kept most of the night team going with his ways. He's funny and sarcastic. He liked giving people nicknames. Mine was Grandad. Don't ask me your nicknames. I still get called it to this day. Cal took me under his wing, and within a couple of days, it was weird how much in common we had. He would say I was his brother from another mother.
That's true. He honestly, and just to stop you, Alex, but the Grandad thing, if I was to show you my phone, he's called Grandad in my phone.
And they went on to say, I knew he had my back and I had his. Cal might have liked to laugh and a joke, but took the job very seriously and made sure everything got completed. He was there in my hour of need, just like I was there in his. Cal would like to take the mick out of me, but he loved the way I gave it back to him just as good. He would often say I met my match. We became best friends and told each other everything. Cal enjoyed working on response, and it was an honour to work with him. When Cal passed, I lost not just a colleague, but also my best friend, and I think about him every day. And that's lovely words from Andy.
Yeah, and Andy, he's suffered. I mean, we all have, but Andy is literally
I've hit him quite hard.
Yeah, he's been in tears, mate, and it has hit him hard. It's hit a lot of people hard around spinning fields. There's a lot of people with fond memories. You know, people past and present And yeah, I have seen the post. We've named a meeting room.
Yeah, so there's a meeting room in head office. It was Andy's idea, so that's named in honour of Cal. So there'll always be a part of him in head office, which is really nice. I believe an invite has been passed on to Cal's family as well to attend the annual awards with us, which would be nice to catch up with them. But yeah, just really sad. Be very much missed. Is missed. Like I said a few minutes ago, our hearts and thoughts go out to Cal and his family, and his friends. And on that note, that's all we've got for today. So thanks for coming in and stepping in the breach. I was going to be on my own up until a couple of days ago, so thanks for
No, you're welcome.
coming on board. You're with us for the next episode as well. We're recording shortly, so stay tuned for that, and we'll see you again soon.